Another day, another round of voting, and another loss for Jim Jordan. The Ohio congressman has yet to secure the votes needed to become the next Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. But that sort of begs the question as to why. Here's a man who widely respected by his colleagues, beloved by conservatives, respected by moderates, upheld by all as a man of decency and honor. Yet for some reason he can't seem to get his GOP colleagues to agree to put him in as speaker. Well, let me rephrase that. Some of his GOP colleagues. So what's going on? Would you believe that old feuds and new slights are the thing that are holding up Jordan? What am I talking about? Hang on, folks. We're going to get into all this in just 1 second.
My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative. Step on up to my electronic front porch and let's talk.
U.S. Representative Jim Jordan, Republican of Ohio and current chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, failed once again to secure the necessary votes to become Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. It's troubling to a lot of people because they can't figure out exactly why Jordan is having such an issue, although I've got some theories on this. But let's take a look at what's going on. I'll give you some information that you may not be aware of and then give you my take on why this is such a big fight, a big deal, and why the House Republicans may be getting ready to get jammed by Biden and the Democrats. So we'll go first to the UK Daily Mail, and we read the following. Headline: Jim Jordan suffers an even bigger defeat in second speaker vote. Republican mess continues as 22 colleagues vote against top conservative with no end in sight for farce in Congress. You got to give it to the British. They know how to put things. Article by Morgan Phillips and by Kelly Lacko. We read the following. Farcical scenes in Congress continued on Wednesday as Jim Jordan lost the second ballot for Speaker of the House floor in an even bigger defeat that could spell the end of his bid for the Republicans' top job. 22 of his disgruntled GOP colleagues, two more than on Tuesday, voted against the top conservative to hand him an even bigger defeat in another free-for-all on the House floor. The House will not vote again until at least noon on Thursday. Representative Don Bacon, Republican Nebraska, a Jordan opposer, predicted the Ohio Republican will lose more votes tomorrow. Quote, I believe he is done, Bacon has told CNN. Okay, let's get into all this because it's juicy. As I said in my intro, Jim Jordan of Ohio is beloved by conservatives in the House and actually around the country. He is respected by his moderate colleagues in the House, even though they may not agree with him on everything or even how he goes about doing his job. So why all the hubbub? Why is he having trouble ascending to the speakership? Well, it turns out that there's a lot of old slights, old feuds, and new fights that are gumming up the works. Let's start by taking a look at the following. This is from the Gateway Pundit. I found this to be particularly interesting. Headline: Rhinos ask for third vote on Speaker, quote, immediately in effort to stop Jim Jordan from shoring up support. Article by Christine Lela. We read the following. GOP reps who voted against Chairman Jim Jordan on the second ballot on Wednesday asked for a third vote immediately in an effort to stop Jordan from talking to members and asking for their support. Jim Jordan failed to secure the 217 votes to win the gavel on the first ballot on Tuesday. 22 GOP representatives voted against Jordan, a staunch conservative and Trump supporter. Okay, now, who are we talking about here? Who are these 22 House Republicans? Well, I'm going to show you the list, and you can take a look. They range from different places from all over the country, everything from Minnesota all the way down to Florida, from Virginia all the way out to California, and everywhere in between. But notice something about this other column over here about who it is they voted for. There's two names that stand out more than anybody else. Kevin McCarthy got 5 votes out of this list of 22. Steve Scalise got 7. Now, I bring up those names for particular reasons. As everyone knows, Kevin McCarthy is the now former Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives. Steve Scalise is the current majority leader, and he, before Jordan, was the Republican designee to get the nomination on the floor to be voted in as Speaker. But Scalise could never get enough votes to get there, and before it even went to a floor vote, he withdrew his name. It turns out those two fellows may be doing a whole lot more behind the scenes to gum up the works for each other and for Jordan than people do realize. I take you now to an article from Breitbart. Take a look at this. Headline: Scalise trying to undermine Jordan's speakership ahead of second ballot. Now, this was from a couple of days ago, but I want to read you some items in here because these are fairly interesting. Article by Nick Gilbertson. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise is attempting to undermine Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan's bid for the speakership gavel after voting for him on the first ballot, sources familiar with the matter have confirmed to Breitbart News. CNN's Annie Grayer noted on Twitter that the majority leader would not commit to helping Jordan secure the 17 outstanding votes he needs for the top House job. This is despite Jordan requesting his aid, as the House has not had a speaker since former Speaker Kevin McCarthy was removed on October 3rd. Sources on Capitol Hill have confirmed Grayer's reporting to Breitbart News. As she puts it, sources say Scalise, who failed in his bid for the gavel, quote, is not being a team player. Breitbart News Washington Bureau Chief Matthew Boyle has further reported that Scalise, who failed in his own speakership bid last week, is the leader of the subversion against Republican conference and Speaker designee Jim Jordan, citing sources familiar with the matter. Grayer also reported that Jordan has asked Scalise to nominate him on the House floor ahead of the first ballot, and Scalise refused. Now, what's going on with this beef between Jordan and Scalise? Well, not totally sure, to be perfectly honest, but from everything I'm reading from various places, apparently it goes back some years. Back to the time of around 2010, 2012, when the Tea Party was coming on the scene, and Jim Jordan, along with his good buddy Mark Meadows, who went on to become Donald Trump's chief of staff in the White House, when the two of them together were just raising all kinds of hell, making life miserable for John Boehner and Eric Cantor, both now no longer in the House. Apparently, Scalise never forgot what happened back in those days and has sort of held it against Jordan. That and he's not really wild about the way Jordan goes about trying to do things. Some people feel he's a little too slash and burn for their taste. Now, what does all this have to do with McCarthy? Well, turns out McCarthy and Scalise don't like each other. Take a look at this. Another article from Breitbart News. McCarthy twists the knife into Scalise as majority leader falls short of expectations in Speaker succession vote. Written by Sean Moran. Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy grimly assessed House Majority Leader Steve Scalise's prospects of becoming Speaker of the House. This is from about 6 days ago. McCarthy said it was a big hill to become House Speaker for Scalise, who had secured the Republican nomination for Speaker. Although the Louisiana Republican received more votes than House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, he did not have enough votes to become Speaker. Quote, he told a lot of people he was going to be at 150. He wasn't there. He continued by saying time is of the essence. Now, I asked the question a moment ago, what's the deal between McCarthy and Scalise? Well, much like the feud between Scalise and Jordan, this goes back a few years as well. Apparently, these two have been trying to one-up each other in one form or another ever since they've been in the House together. They don't like each other personally, and they don't like each other's style. Now, they may be all hugs and kisses out in public, but behind the scenes, neither one of them is going to stand alone with their back turned to the other for very long, lest somebody pull a political knife out and put it between their political shoulder blades. So you begin to see the problem. Old feuds, new slights, and one more factor that a lot of people are not considering. And this may be the biggest reason of them all. Everybody knows Jim Jordan's politics. Now, like I say, there's some disagreement about what he will and will not do as far as if he becomes Speaker. But one thing is certain. The office of Speaker and the House of Representatives will definitely take a bend toward the political right. How far it goes, who can say? Jordan's been known to talk a good game on some issues, not necessarily delivered on others, but he will have the Speaker's gavel and the power of that office. If ever there was a time he wanted to try to enact conservative or populist agenda items, this is it. And this is what the members of the House Appropriations Committee are terrified of. Now, if you're wondering why the House Appropriations Committee comes into play, let us remember, by reputation, it is the most powerful committee in the U.S. Congress, regardless of whether you're talking about the House or the Senate. The Appropriations Committee doles out who gets how much money and who it goes to. Consequently, that is why the members of the Appropriations Committee are known as the College of Cardinals. They have that much power. What the College of Cardinals is scared to death of when it comes to dealing with a Speaker, Jim Jordan, is money that has been designated for certain priorities, let's say, Ukraine, etc., won't be going there anymore. Among other things, the House won't be spending money on. That is what this fight gets down to. Now, a lot of people are going to look at this and go, well, I can't believe these people can't get their act together. No. You've got to understand something. This is a fight to the political death. Whoever wins out of this is going to more or less determine the direction of the House for years to come. If Jim Jordan succeeds in becoming Speaker, there is the distinct possibility that the House takes a turn to the political right. It means that conservative agenda items, shoring up our southern border, stopping the flow of money to the proxy war in Ukraine, among any number of other priorities, starts becoming a reality. This is anathema to moderates and also the members of the House Appropriations Committee. That means their decisions about spending money become far more scrutinized. It means that they won't be able to have all the same power that they once had. If, on the other hand, Jordan loses, and let's say someone like a Patrick McHenry or a McCarthy acolyte goes on to become Speaker, then conservatives will never get a chance to have real power in the House again, perhaps for decades to come. As I say, this is a political fight to the death. So if I were Jordan, talk to your colleagues who haven't voted for you yet, keep talking to them. Because if you lose this, doesn't matter if it's you, Matt Gaetz, or anybody else, this is never going to happen again. Now, there is one other factor to consider. A story came out today that has definite impact on what's going on in the House right now. Take a look at this. This is from CBS News. Biden to deliver Oval Office address regarding Israel and Ukraine on Thursday. Article by Stephen Beckett. I want to go deep into this thing and read the following. Take a look at what Biden is prepared to ask for. CBS News reported on Tuesday that the president is planning to ask Congress for an additional year-long aid package worth $100 billion that would include funding for Israel, Ukraine, and Indo-Pacific countries, including Taiwan, as well as measures to boost security along the U.S.-Mexico border. Now, what does that mean? Well, right now there's no Speaker of the House. Biden is going to try to press the advantage to get this funding package through. So here's what conceivably could be going on. Biden's like, look, we got to fund, the efforts of Ukraine against Russia. We've got to help Israel. We've got to do this, this, and this. You guys have got to get your act together. You got to give me a speaker. And the pressure is going to get ramped up on the Republicans to put somebody in the speaker's chair so that these items can move forward. This is a play against the conservatives. This is meant in part to help the moderates and the old bulls that run the House Appropriations Committee. Now, is there direct coordination? Probably not. But as far as the priorities between Biden, the Appropriations Committee, and the moderates in the House, oh yeah, they're definitely in sync on this one. So don't be surprised if after Biden gives this speech, he and other people start ramping up the pressure. Hey, we got to get this speakership issue settled, and we got to do it now. Otherwise, how are we going to get these things done? Harumph, harumph, harumph. So, that's where it stands. That's what's going on. For my part, I am truly hopeful Jim Jordan becomes Speaker because absolutely, this may be the best chance conservatives and populists have had in years to get somebody behind the chair who actually will move conservative agenda items forward to the benefit of the country and the detriment of the establishment. But that's what I think about it. What do you think? As we start to wrap up this video, please do me some favors as always. Number 1, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please do so. Number 2, please leave a comment below. I would love to know what you think about all this. Number 3, please hit the bell for notifications. I want to make sure you're always aware when new material and new live streams are coming out. Number 4, share the video around. And finally, please give me a thumbs up. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your Front Porch Conservative, and I'll see you next time.